Okay. Well, the camera doesn't want to work, so that's a great start. Hold, please. It's always something, isn't it? It's always something. Let's try that again, huh? Well, how about that? OBS crashed. What the hell? Alright, so anyway, hi, I'm Steve from Mac84. Hopefully you could hear me, hopefully you could see me, and welcome to another live stream where everything goes wrong and the points don't matter. So, who do we have here today? We have Mike of Mike's Mac Shack, who is very impatient. Jay's here, Let's Play, Keldo is here, Keldeo? Sorry. Sutek, Carthor, Partygoer. Who else? We have Lucas. We also have... Never watched this dude before. Where I'm here. Hello, I'm Steve. Ken is here. Ken of the Computer Clan, of course. Raw Elements is here. Pseudos is here. Retrofox is here. And Tevrudin. Who else we have? Lucia, Toby Q, 50 Shades of Beige. Sandbag36, Tech God. This is Adam B, etc. Excellent. Hello, everybody. Apologies to Joe of Joe's Computer Museum. I had scheduled myself to stream and forgot to hit the do button. And so I know he's streaming now with a bunch of buds and did not mean to go on your time or anything like that. It's just the way it worked out. But anyway, subscribe to Joe's Computer Museum and all that fun stuff as well. And so we have Ken of the Computer Clan here. Hello, Ken. How you doing? Had a nice chat with Mr. Ken here today of the crazy variety. Very nice gentleman. Of course, you know, trapped underground, you get all crazy ideas in your head. And one of them is you know, just buying every single Apple collectible you can. Not a bad idea. All right, so who else we have here? We have Brian, and all right. So, whole point of today is to finally cut out some time to actually repair something. We'll try and repair something. Ken has been very patient, and I have an Apple Newton message pad of his, and it's a very unique little product here, and I have it wrapped up here so I would not confuse it with mine, and remove the battery case and the thing and everything because there was some corrosion there, and put it to the side so I wouldn't worry about it. And this is what he had given me at VCF Midwest in September. It's taken me so long, such a long time ago, so my apologies. But yeah, it's a beautiful little, you can see the camera, beautiful little Newton message pad, but it's not any ordinary Newton message pad. It sure looks like it. But the back here says Notepad. And there's a bit of an echo or delay with OBS, rather. A visual echo. And I have no idea how to solve that, so sorry. Maybe it'll fix itself out. But it is special, as Ken says. A few things to note on the back. It does say Notepad. By the battery door, it says 003. So that has... If I could get some lighting on this, you could kind of see it there. Yeah. There's some writing of some degree on it. But that's an interesting little thing here. Now, when this machine turns on, which we'll demo in a moment, it doesn't seem to be 100% happy. It tries to boot, and then it's like, no, I don't want any part of this. And it goes, nope. So there you go. And yes, a big thanks to Ken for tweeting this out and sharing along with all of his comrades of these streaming shenanigans. I will do a little bit of a lengthy introduction. About who I am, what I do, and all this crap in a moment. Let me just plug the power cord in. So, I am Steve. I do vintage Macintosh repairs, as you can see. Quite a bunch of crap in the background. Most of them work, kind of. I've been doing live streams and videos since about 2017 or so. And I've helped Ken out in a few videos with his prototype iMac and with his Nextcube, with the eMate, and all sorts of fun stuff. So I've been working with Ken for a while. Always fun. He always has some nice things to look at. And at VCF Midwest, we were able to meet up in person, which was a lot of fun. And that's when he gave me this Newton to play around with. And so I do microscopic repairs on logic boards. Let's see if I have a happy candidate here. Well, this one's kind of a happy candidate. But most of these little yellow blobs here are capacitors. They've been replaced using a microscope. So yeah, fun times. You have to replace the components on these vintage Macintosh boards because they have these little things called capacitors in them, and capacitors help regulate the voltage on the logic board. And unfortunately, and here's a stray one, these little suckers are filled with corrosive material, a liquid, electrolyte. And when that leaks, or when this expires, or the seal breaks, or anything like that, could spread all over your logic board and can bridge things that aren't supposed to be bridged. It could corrode into traces and vias, which are the connecting lines, like the arteries of your logic board, and could do some pretty nasty damage. So hopefully this Newton message pad isn't too bad. We just have to clean it up and maybe it'll start working again. But I will demo what it's doing now. But you always want to be sure that if you're getting a vintage computer, let's say you're getting into collecting, and you want to see what all the fuss is about, you want to get your first vintage Mac or PC, you want to make sure you know about capacitor damage and leakage, and about batteries. The little batteries that are in systems, I usually have, here it is, usually have a victim here. The little PRAM battery, your system may have a different looking battery, but these batteries often, when they die or when they age to a specific period, they like exploding or leaking. So yeah, fun times with that. But anywho, hey, Sean of Action Retros here. How you doing, Sean? All right. Will you make it explode? No. Big Clive is excellent at doing that. I would be screaming like a little kid. So no, thank you. Yes, Sean has sent me many cursed things to fix up. And people who I am not going to name just yet have threatened to stop by and have me fix some stuff. And that might happen next weekend or so. So that's going to be exciting. What I do want to do is just put down some padding here, just to make sure we don't have anything touching the case that doesn't have to touch it. But Mike, you didn't have to do that super chat. My goodness, what the heck is that all about? 50 wing wangs. After YouTube's tax, that's almost 35 wing wangs. Thanks, dude. Eep. Whenever we get a super chat or a sticker around here, we like to do a eep. So big eep. Thank you very much, Mike. Greatly appreciate it. I'm sure I will have to pay you back in one way or another by lugging computers up your stairs. But thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Oh, boy. Sorry, let me scroll up here. Yes, PowerBook caps, not fun. Alright, so no pyrotechnics, please. So I'm going to plug in the power to this Newton. And you might not be able to see it the best because of the way the reflective screen is. But let's see if it'll just stay in that position. And if I power it on, or attempt to power it on, sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. It's a bit stubborn in that regard. And I'd be stubborn too if I was 30 years old with old batteries. There we go. So we get to Newton screen, and it says confidential at the bottom. So don't tell Apple. Shh, don't tell John Scully. And we get to this screen, which has slightly different fonts and wording of normal Newton, where you are presented with your stylus. You're asked to point to the screen, press down, and let it progress. And so when I try and do that, absolutely nothing happens. So there's something wrong with this device where it's not happy. It's trying, but it's not quite making it do what it's supposed to do. Now it's interesting. If I turn this off via unplugging it, and I plug it back in, and I hold down the power button, it says, do you really want to erase this data on the Newton? And I'm going to say no. Notice how the touch screen works. So there's something going on here where the machine boots up, it goes to this screen, the sound works, but I can't continue. I don't know if there's some super secret tapping I have to do in a certain area. I've tried tapping all around and all such like that. Nothing seems to be working for it. However, these do have capacitor issues, like a lot of old vintage electronics, and so what I'm going to do is try and very carefully take this apart and see if I could find out what's going on here. So that is the task that Ken has given me. I hope I am successful. If not, at least we could figure out maybe what's the cause of this, hopefully. So there we go. Computer says no, exactly. If you tap yes, the device will erase itself, and I don't think Ken wants me to do that. That's like a last resort type thing. Now, I am very curious if... Well, no, we can't get to that stage. I was going to say if it's sort of like these things are like Palm Pilots. If you're not familiar with Palm Pilots, you're probably familiar with an iPhone, and I feel old. But these are designed to connect to a computer via a serial port, which will help you synchronize data and all that fun stuff. If you do that, you can download information to and from the Newton, but it's not getting past that screen, which would allow us to do that. So that's not going to help us out there. But Ken is messaging me here. Yeah, so there are 3 capacitors on this Newton. One's by the display, I believe. One's by the battery. So I'm going to replace those just to see if we could fix any of the things that are going wrong with this thing. Words are hard when you're reading things. And we're just going to see if that solves it. If that doesn't, well, you know, we gave it a shot. But I'm also very curious to see if there's anything that, like a bodge wire or something like that, which is not uncommon on pre-production units. Something could have came loose. The solder is what, 20, 30 years old at this point. So it doesn't hurt to just take a look in there and just see what's going on. And taking these apart is not fun. So we're going to do that. And we're going to record it on this camera that I have here that is off camera. But yeah. All right. So have you tried asking it nicely to work? I have tried, Sean. And I don't know why I'm looking at that camera. I have tried. And it says no. So there you go. But yeah, it's been a while since Ken gave this to me. I know after the dust settled from VCF Midwest, I was able to get to boot to that screen, but that's it. And it's very particular. If I just plug in the power and just like keep asking it to do it, it doesn't want to do it. If I remove the PRAM battery or the whatever this battery backup battery is, sometimes then it'll decide just to do it. So it's just one of those things that is weird, but we're gonna try and figure out why. Setting it on fire. I'll let Ken do that. If it was mine, we might reset it and do some other things, but yeah, I'm not gonna blow up his prized Newton. Then we have new problems. Yes, that's exactly right, Sadmac. Check out Sean's latest video, Action Retro, here in the chat. He just did a video on this ancient behemoth of a wood grain machine with a beautiful bright blue color job on that thing, and that's an ancient system, and he's gonna need some help getting that fully working. So make sure you subscribe to Action Retro. I mean, everybody here is subscribed to him because he's crazy and popular and all that stuff. So be sure you do that. There's a bunch of cursed shenanigans on his channel. Lots of fun stuff. Well, I don't think it's a switch. I don't think it's a switch because the switch operates fine when I'm turning it on and when I'm holding it down to do the reset procedure. Everything seems to be functional in that regard. If there is something wrong with this, I'm going to guess either it's a software bug that we might not have a chance to resolve. There might be a loose chip or something, or a chip that was flashed. Who knows how the ROMs are in here or anything like that. Or a capacitor leak, it just shorted something out, and when it goes to initialize the screen upon full boot up, it's like, and it just, fails. So we'll see about that. So first off, so this is the original Newton message pad, also known as the Newton 100. Very similar design and everything. In fact, it's the same for the original Newton message pad as it is to the 100. They just renamed it because they had later models that they released. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to follow along this video that I did the first time when I was working on a different Newton for Ken, which is in his possession and it all works fine. But there's a certain way you have to go about removing the screws, and I'm going to take my sweet time doing it. I do not want to mess up, especially with a nice looking model like this. So there you go. That's what we're going to do. Hopefully this is going to be entertaining and fun. I'm going to set up the second camera here, so let me stand up and do that. And then we'll be able to get some beautiful bean footage there for a good pal Ken. So he could use this however he wants. Ransom or anything his heart desires. Alright, so let me get a good focus on this. In fact, I should pipe the HDMI out of here so we could capture that too. Let me do that. Try not to kill myself by dodging wires in the basement. All right, so let's plug some things in. I'm still here. Hello. And open up this dealie. Plug in the cable. No, I'm not going to smack it around. That would just be mean. What did the Newton do to anybody? Nothing. except maybe, you know, get canceled by Steve Jobs. But that wasn't the Newton's fault. Steve didn't like anything to do with the prior Apple, so he axed it when he came back. All right, let's just make sure this is going to work correctly. Let's see if it wants to. It may not, because my camera can be a bit finicky with the devices it's connected to. One moment, please. All right, so let's fix this here. One moment, please. All right, so this is the side angle for Ken's purposes. I'm just gonna try and get this as sharp as possible. You see how the sausage is made here. And let's see, we have 12 hours of recording time here. I'm going to record it at 1080, otherwise I'm going to be ending up sending Ken a massive file. And he's going to be like, I have nothing to do with this, I just want 10 seconds out of this. You crazy. And I'm going to say, yes, I am. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hit record on that as I trip over the camera. And we're going to get those little record marks, but it doesn't matter. That's just for us. Jay doesn't care about anything pre-1998 Apple. Have you tried contacting an old priest, a young priest? We need an old capacitor and a young capacitor. Oh, great. Somebody fixed it up. Why not 30 FPS? Well, 24 FPS feels a bit more cinematic in my mind. I mean, 30 FPS is all well and good, but, I mean, we ain't doing video game stuff here. We ain't going crazy with the frame rates. I want to go easy on my memory card. Oh, that sounds great, Sutek. That sounds excellent. Okay, so let's rewind here. I'm watching this video by EKRIRKE. I cannot pronounce that. I'm going to put a link in the doobly. There we go. It's smearing. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Please, the USB capture device I'm using is dirt cheap. We're not losing any quality here, I assure you. This capture device, I'm surprised works at all. So we're not going to get into the weeds here about quality. It's a YouTube stream being cut down to whatever the heck compression YouTube is using, and that's just the way it is. But there we go. We could respect the aspect ratio for a little bit as we get into this. And I left my tools upstairs. How about that? Oh. Well, I'll be right back. Enjoy this Newton. And I kicked the darn tripod again. Oh, we're off to a great start. Anybody who came from Ken's link is like, who the hell is this guy? I don't know. He's crazy. Well, I'm old and forgetful, so what are you going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. Thanks, Jay. All right, let's scoot the camera this way so I can actually pull out the drawer with more tools on it. It's great when you plan these things, you know, ahead of time. The empty chair does add to the charm, because if you don't like me for whatever weird reason, you could just be like, well, that guy's not there anymore, so we good. I got tools now. Alrighty. Hey, it's Bruce. About time you showed up. We didn't even get the thing open yet because I was like, Bruce isn't here yet. And yes, Bruce, I know you're going to say you're recording the thing with the info on the thing. Nobody cares. Alright, so I have two tool sets here. Leave that over there for now. And I have to move around the windows a little bit so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. Well, it's a shame that happens. Sorry, Bruce. I was giving the bunny her medication and her food, and she decided that she needed to use the facilities. And so we had a bit of a cleanup right before I ran down for the stream. So I was running a bit late as it was. So apologies, but crap happens, literally. All right, cool. So let's open up this thing. So I'm going to get a piece of paper, which I should have gotten before. Again, planning is great. And the reason I use a piece of paper is to mark where the screws are going. And this is exactly what I do. Let me switch the camera so you can actually see this up front. So what I do here is I do a little cheapo, crummy diagram of what screws go where and all that stuff. And I'm going to use the back here, but that way I have a good understanding of where the screws go and how they have to go back, because we don't want to lose anything. Why do I have this Mac 84 Live thing here? Nobody cares about that. Where's that? There we go. Jeez Louise. Alright. Let's take all this Captain tape off. Well, I guess I'll use the other side. So I don't need it. Don't need it at all. Love you too, Bruce. You're recording on the thing? Did you know you're recording on the thing? We like to have fun here. Like to keep it PG-13-ish. So I'm a corny old person, and that's just the way I am. Alright, so there's a bunch of screws on the back of this Newton. And we're going to focus on those first. Because you have to do this in a certain way, or it's going to get sad. And we don't want it to get sad. So we already took the battery out. Now we have to do this little dance with the battery. That it has to pretend that it has to think that there are batteries inserted into it. So we have to push this lever here with our fingernail. And then we have to switch this all the way to replace backup. And now we could remove this backup battery. Well, theoretically. In practice, we have to get a paper clip and probably poke at it a little bit. Which is always fun. Especially because we don't want to touch the plastics in a bad way. Come on, Mr. Battery. I put you in there, I could take you out. Or not. Well, we could actually replace that later. Doesn't necessarily... No, wait, actually, there's a screw under there. Party goer, I know you're new around here. Just to set some expectations. My longest stream, I believe, was like 9 or 10 hours. So, I love your enthusiasm. Trust me, I do. Might want to just realize that before you go full in. Yeah. Oh, God. I'm going to do this closer so I can actually see what the heck I'm doing. Sorry. What happens when you age? Your eyes just go... Pfft. And you're like, I can't see. Even with plenty of light. So I'm just trying to loop this paperclip under the battery. It's a weird thing because this battery should just come out, but they are often very stubborn and they don't want to come out. So there you go. Yeah, just to take the battery out, it's going to be 7 hours. Sorry, Ken, I had to charge you for the 7 hours it took me to get the battery out. But you put the battery in. Yeah, but I still got to charge you for it. Welcome to Mac 84's surly computer repairs. Yeah, I mean, it wants to come out, kind of. But it's also like... no. See, I put the battery in there because I was wondering if there was an instance of the booting process where it did not want to start up without a battery on this particular model. Turns out that was wrong, but you never know. You'll be out of here in an hour. Well, you could always catch the thingamajig later. That's what's the great thing about the YouTube. You could always come back to it. There we go. Yeah, you sometimes just have to get a paper clip under there. And just fuss with it. And of course, you don't want to hurt any of the plastic. And there comes the battery. Nice and happy. And there was no screw under there, but I feel accomplished anyway. How was that? Alright, cool. So let's start. So it's the battery. So I'm watching a video of how to do this, just because, well, it looks so easy for him to remove the battery. My goodness. But I want to make sure I do this right. If it was my own, I'd just throw caution to the wind and go, wee! And everyone would be like, you're ruining it. And I'd be like, I don't care, it's mine. But this is Ken's, so we're going to be a little bit more delicate here. So. And I'm going to draw those little diagrams that I talked about and absolutely did nothing about. Because my pencil is now under this. No. Where did I put my pencil? This is part of the show where Steve sings about the things he loses on his desk. Oh, come on, it was right here. What the hell? Oh, there it is. Okay, I was about to say, it couldn't have gone that far. Alright, so we're going to just do a little diagram here. It doesn't have to be perfect. The whole purpose is just for you to remember where the heck the screws were when you took them out and where they go. There's a little guy there. There's one here. Here's where that switcher doodle is. We also have 1, 2 in the frame. And that should be it for there. Okay, so this is the back. 12-hour stream where half the stream is us staring at a fully disassembled Newton with an empty chair, and Steve's in the corner sobbing once he realizes the mess he's gotten himself into. I've opened Newtons before. The crying is going to be on a different stream because it'll take up way too much time. But I've opened these systems before. I would not, generally I do not take on repairs for a friend or a client. Well, a friend maybe, but like in a client scenario, I would not take on a job that I have not at least a little bit familiar with. I've taken these models apart before. I've recapped them before. And it's just one of those things where I am quite familiar with them. But then again, I haven't done it in a while, so I'm watching this video to make sure that I don't mess it up. And you might be saying, Steven, that's a lot of tape to use. Well, we're going to try and be economical here. But we also don't want to lose any of these screws. So we have about 40 people watching in the chat. Again, thank you very much to Mike of Mike's Mac Shack for the super chat. You better subscribe to Mike's Mac Shack if you like watching cats and a person that likes to curse at computers, because that's what Mike's channel is all about. Mike has been doing some game live streams on his other channel, Mike's Ancient Arcade, I believe it is, or just Ancient Arcade. Mike, feel free to put the links into those channels there. Always a fun time. And Mike has hung out on my channel quite a few times. Usually when we're beating the crap out of old IBM stuff because I'm too dumb to make it work. And Mike is like, yeah, I've been doing this since I was like a kid. Like, move over. Let the professionals handle it. Alright, so now there's the back of the Newton. And we have 1, 2, at least in this view here, of these screws here. So that's the battery compartment. Oh, getting old is fun. Your wrists start to hurt for no reason, just randomly. I mean, you know. Not getting any younger. Steve's getting real dark, man. Tape is delicious. Now these Newtons, you'll notice if you find some on eBay, they're often in a bit of a bleh state. The finish could get all blah on it. It could get all rough and yucky. And that's because there's this sort of textured rubber to it. And over time that just degrades. You'll see it with old CD players and the like. That stuff just degrades. And some people just wipe it all off and it changes the color slightly. But yeah. A magnetic mat would be great if I could remember to purchase one. But this is the method I use. It uses up a little bit of tape, but it's exactly what I need to have. And yeah, I have seen those magnetic mats, and I should probably invest in one. But anywho. All right, so here's the fun part. So there is this little tiny little dot here, which is going to be a little hard to see on camera. well, maybe if I shove it in, don't want to adjust the focus too much, but essentially it's there. And let me actually switch the camera, because duh, I have two cameras here. If I could figure out which screen my darn cursor's on. There we go. These are the weird noises Steve makes when he's concerned. So there's this little dot here, right on the side. Yeah, and it's almost invisible, but there you go. You see, it's sort of like a little indent. It goes in. That's actually, yes, Nick is very right. Resilient to accidental bumps, and that's me, an accident waiting to happen. That is actually covering a screw. So we have to remove that. And we have to do that very carefully. So, now I have done this before where I was actually able to open it up and not do that. So I'm just going to see how far I could get, being very careful, of course. But there was a way that I was successfully able to navigate to that screw and sort of release it from the inside rather than removing that little piece. Because cosmetically, that piece is not really going to look the same. And it's sort of sucky, but that's just, the way it is. I'm going to have to remove this placeholder card slot, which is also different from the retail model. The language is a bit different, but very interesting anyway. I'm going to take these two items and I'm going to put them in a bin so I do not lose them. Where can I find a bin? Here we are. I'm going to put that to the side so we do not lose any of those pieces. All right. Oh, I've had plenty of things hit the floor. It's always fun. And by fun, I mean I pause the stream for like a half hour as I'm crawling around on my hands and knees on the concrete floor trying to figure out what I did and where all the things went. It's always fun. Usually I find it, though, which is nice. So they're using one of these eye-opener tools in the video. Yeah, I'm going to probably use one of those plastic picks instead. Now, I got this kit, and I'm going to do a review on this thing, but I'm going to break it open here for the purpose of this video, and I keep forgetting. The camera's pointing the wrong way. So I'm going to do a video of this. This is a toolkit from Harbor Freight. It's basically an iFixit knockoff kit. I'm going to do a review of it because if you look on the back, it tells you, hey, it's got all these things. And where it would tell you the important information, for example, what type of size bits it has, whoever designed this box said, yeah, you don't need to know the information. It's got 5 of this, it's got 6 of that. That is totally useless information. If I'm buying a kit like this, especially for the price of $40 or whatever it was, I want to know what the hell bits are inside of this damn thing. So I'm going to do a review about that and shame them about that. Because, that's just stupid. This kit, I believe, came out in December. And I'm going to ruin the top of the box, so I'll ruin the bottom of the box instead. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I did open it up in the store. I went up to the cashier and said, "Hey, look, I'm gonna buy this thing probably anyway. I just want to see what's inside of it because they don't list it on the back of the box." And the lady was like, "Yeah, that's weird. They don't list it on the back of the box." So carefully just opening this up here. You get a good amount of tools here. We got some plastic spudgers, and we got something to put your smooth cheeses on or your peanut butters, something like that. No, CJ, I don't know. I must be a different type of purchaser, though, because I went in there looking for Torx Security 6 bits once, and I was able to find them. It took quite a bit to do so, though. All right, let's get back to here. So I'm using a plastic spudger because it's softer, and you do not have to have a lot of force to open up these Newtons. You just got to, suggest it, and it will move, especially because there's this rubberized coating here. You really do not want to put a lot of pressure on this because you will mark up the device. And see, it's coming apart just by me touching it here. So we're just going to proceed very carefully and try our best, because of the soft plastic, not to mess this up. There we go. And I'm probably going to be silent here for a little bit while I do this. That's just because, again, don't want to mess it up. fast forward ahead in the video to see which part. Yeah, this is just one of those. I mean, we may have to undo that screw at the top. I'm just going to see if we could get around doing that. Yeah, there was some battery corrosion on this too, which is always a good sign. And I'm being sarcastic. Terrible sign. You do not want battery corrosion on your vintage systems, or your modern ones for that case. All right, so we got that done. There we go. Oh, come on. You could do it. There we go. Yeah, just take your time. There's no rush into these repairs. There's absolutely no reason to rush. We have all of 8 billion in watch hours for YouTube, so we don't necessarily need to take the quick approach here. I do wonder though, instead of the razor, yeah, this is actually sharp enough. I could probably just carefully get this out without poking a hole in it, and that's why I just didn't want to poke a hole in it. It looks like we might have to do it anyway, but yeah, I mean, that's part of the take apart. Yep, there it comes. And you know what? The other side is unblemished, so we can just stick that back on. But there's a screw here. There's a tiny little screw. Where's the camera? There's a little screw there. So we have to get that off. So let's do that anyway. So much for going the opposite way, but I didn't want to bend and break the plastic. If it was mine, I would have been more aggressive with it, but 'tis not. All right, where the hell did I put the screwdriver? Even with the camera pointed at me, I lose things instantly. Okay, seriously, where'd it go? That's just a new record, I think, because I had it in my hand. Oh, that's right. I was playing around with this toolkit. It's on the freaking keyboard tray. Forget I have that there. All right. So this is corner. I'm going to put that there. And a little piece of tape over there. Yes, Savvy Sage, got that right. And to see, this just proves how far behind I am. Thanks for making it to the stream. Appreciate it. The kit to get is the Oreo 60 piece off of Amazon for like $12. Have yeah, see, the reason I get the cheap kits is I lose these bits of screws and everything every single time I do a project. And, you know, I try my best. It's just that's the way my brain is, and I lose them. And so instead of losing bits for like a $70 kit or more, I'll lose bits for a cheaper kit. And I'll just buy the whole kit again. So that's just how it is. All right, so let me watch this part of how this guy's doing it so I make sure that I remember correctly. Undoing that screw. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Yes, he has a top-down camera, which I have. I just don't have it set up. Yeah. All right. So that's what we're just going to continue doing with the lower plastic spudger. Thank you, Daner. I don't know. I don't know. People don't like the video. That makes me sad, and I really just get very sad. No, I mean, you could like the video, you could subscribe to the channel, you could do all the things. Do what you have to do. And I think if you like the video, my chances of getting this Newton open will increase slightly. No promises. But I think that's the way this evening is going. It's just like, I hate these silly things sometimes. Just do not want to be released. There we go. Sometimes the plastic pieces just go back. So what I do, stop making Steve sad, or else. Yeah, I mean, I'm a cheap old man. Well, I'm not that old, but I am cheap. So what I usually do is I'll take like a small paper clip, and I'm not really jamming it in there. I'm just putting it there so you can see it just sort of keeps that open. Because sometimes when you're moving these things around, see, things are in flux, and they might just pop right in, or get snapped in and seated again, and we don't want that to happen. And there's usually enough clearance, yeah, just for it to sit there, and it's not going to hurt anything. And by the time we're off to the next thing, it could be removed. But I'm going to put my fingernail there just to brace it, because I have to go across this little crevice here. I'm not really pushing. I'm just really just gently wiggling in that area, because there we go. We just need to get under that clip. And there we go. Again, these machines are a bit finicky to take apart. At least they have screws. My goodness. If they went full on iPhone or iPad on this, be no way of opening it up without damaging the poor thing. I mean, this is in very good shape. It's not perfect, but it's in very good shape. Okay, cool. So the top is now removed. Oh, wow. Yeah, so we have our capacitors here. Front and center. We have one here, and one here. And there's also two over here. Now, I'm going to bring out the microscope here so we can learn together what's going on here. And I have to finagle with OBS because I'm an idiot and I did not do anything beforehand. Sweet. Alright, so I have a pretty good microscope here, and we're going to use it to find out if any of these capacitors are causing any problems here. So let me just adjust the focus here. And there we go. Are you done yet? No. How dare you, Mike. Alright, so warning, my microscope is an optical one, and what I see may not necessarily be what you see. And I see a problem, well, a concern right off the bat here. What is going on here? Oh, that's like a ribbon cable? Okay, I was very confused there. So my microscope is an optical one. The camera is pointed down to the center, so sometimes I'll be looking at things that are slightly off camera. I do apologize for that. But I do need one of those button dealies to switch the things, but yeah, I'm cheap. Alright, so we have, that looks like, yeah, that's just some flux there. Now, on these Newtons, you'll see we have what looks like two tantalum capacitors. Yeah, those ain't tantalum capacitors. And we also have some very slight capacitor leakage around them, because those are actually electrolytic capacitors hiding in little tantalum capacitor houses. So that's just not good, but that is what it is. So I'm just having a look around this board for the first time. Now here's one of the capacitors here that we do have replacements for. Another one of these caps that is hiding, which is always fun. Not really seeing any corrosion around there, which is good. And then we have this bad boy up here, which that looks like corrosion, but that's a bunch of flux. So, not seeing anything terribly wrong with this yet, but there is another board to this once we open it up further. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of flux here. Nothing crazy. I mean, that capacitor, some cold solder joints on it maybe. Looking for any dates on the board here, from what I could gather. It looks very much like any of the Newtons I've taken apart before. So nothing too surprising there. I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out immediately as there's a fault here, but there is a little PCB for the screen, which may be affecting some of the touchscreen inputs on the other side, and we'll look at that in a little bit. His toe set it on fire. Yep, they're disguising themselves as tantalums. How evil. Oh, we have a little solder ball in here, fresh from the factory. Fresh from the factory solder ball. Now, I don't think that particular solder ball would be causing any issues, but can anybody see the solder ball? Jay, this is a chance to redeem yourself. Does anybody see the solder ball? It is right there. And this is a scalpel, just to tell you how fine-pointed I am right now. Because everything looks big under a microscope. And we're just going to play soccer with that. There we go. We're football or foosball. And we're going to move that away from the board. So there you go. Newton always reminded me of the Fig Newton commercial with the guy in the big purple suit saying. I've seen that commercial. But, oh boy. No worries, Jay. I'll just trigger you with something else. And another solder ball. What the hell, Apple? Oh, come on. I just made it go into a crevice. There it goes. It flew away. There. Gone. My goodness. Oh, my okay, so the camera light is really screwing up the DSLR recording, but we're not going to use this part. Just seeing if I see anything else. Sorry, Jay, I didn't put the solder balls in here. A lot of hairs in here. I don't think they're mine either. I'm just going to do a very gentle tap of these traces. Look like they're all good, but you never know. You could have one lifted trace that is just causing havoc. Pretty zoomed in here. Yeah, I mean this looks like there's some corrosion here. Just light corrosion. Nothing that we can't fix. But this capacitor has certainly leaked. That could be causing the issue. We don't know. But I do have small 10 microfarad 16 volt capacitors that will replace both of these. Oh, we have some hot glue here. Or some weird thing that Apple has put here to try and... Well, let's take these off. This is not doing anyone any favors. Oh my goodness. Pillow biscuits. That's a new one. Honey, could you pass me the pillow biscuits? Why, yes, honey. Here are the pillow biscuits. Did you enjoy your pillow biscuits today? Why, yes, I enjoyed the pillow biscuits today. And anybody watching this live stream later on, without the context of the live chat, will have no idea what the heck I'm talking about. We're talking about the Australian name for Fig Newtons. Alright, so let's wait for that soldering iron to warm up. It's already warmed up. I'm just stalling for time as I try and find my tweezers. Because I put my tweezers here, and then I lost them. But you know what? I have that knockoff iFixit kit here. So I'm going to steal another tool from there. Air biscuits. No matter what you call them, I'm getting hungry now. Alright, so we're going to use up one of these tweezer doodles from the not iFixit kit. And we're going to have to do this very carefully. And my microscope is doing sort of a blooming thing. But we'll be fine. Where's my little flux? Don't have much of it left, but I need some now. If not, I'll revert to the crummy flux. But so I'm just going to put a little dab of this flux. This is an Amtech flux, but you could use whatever you want. Just a very small dab of it, and I'm just going to heat up my soldering iron, which is already heated up, and I'm just going to very gently stab at those for it to melt. There we go. It would help if my tweezers were actually on the item. And we're going to do the same thing for that leg. And we're just going to slowly convince this to get the heck off of this poor Newton board. There we go. And look at that. So we've removed that. And it smells horrible. Oh my goodness, does this stink. So there's the underside. You can see all of that lovely whatever. Let me try and focus this a bit better. Sorry, folks. I mean, just look at that. Ugh. I mean, it looked okay from this side. You flip that over, not so okay. Let's get a little bit more focused on that area. Yeah. Ugh. Yuck, 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 yuck. All right, so throw that away. Bruce is going to correct everybody about the incorrect assumptions you are making about Australian culture right now. Have at him, Bruce. Bruce at Brankus Creations has a fabulous YouTube channel. He has, 50 billion subscribers at this point, I believe. Long ago, back when I was smart and young and beautiful, we had about the same subscriber count. And we just had like a little gentleman's bet going on of who would reach a higher number better. Needless to say, he won. He cheated. Obviously. It's the only way. But I like to move past those items and just be the bigger man. Let's try and get this capacitor off. Probably did not use enough flux there. Definitely did not use enough flux there. So we're going to go ahead and put more flux on it, because flux is my friend. And it's your friend too if you're doing soldering. Now, if you are new to soldering, jesting aside, my good friend Bruce at Brankus Creations has excellent tutorial videos about soldering. So if you want to know how to fix computers, or if you just want to know how to learn the basics of soldering, I would strongly recommend going to his YouTube channel, Brankus Creations. And I'm sure Bruce will be a pal and put a link to his content in a moment. And he has some great beginner soldering tutorial videos. Oh my goodness, that's worse than the other one. And I would strongly suggest you check that out. My goodness, that smells like fish. Terrible fish. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Ugh. Now, would you call that, Bruce, scunge, or what's the? I know you've even forgotten your terms for it. That's why I'm asking you. Oh, that's just beautiful. Yeah, we don't want that in our Newton. Solder. I actually need to order some more flux. And every single time I do an online order, I forget to order more flux. It's just because I'm dumb. We'll just come out and say it. I have the dumbs. The dum-dum-dums. Alright, so let me just do that. Just gonna try and clean that away here. This is just some isopropyl alcohol on a cotton swab or a cotton bud, just to try and get some of that crud away. The forbidden fish smell. Thank you, Dana. Look, you even beat Bruce to it. How shameful. Bruce should be ashamed. I mean, come on. Now, I know all 47 of you who are watching the stream right now probably have no idea what the heck we're babbling on about. These are just silly insider jokes from some of the friends that are watching. If you like and subscribe and show up to more streams, you too will slightly maybe be able to understand this stuff in the future. But that's okay. So I'm using some solder wick here to just try and get some of the solder and the crusty, crappy solder off of these pads. I'm doing a terrible job of it. And because some of this solder is just very crummy. We have just a lot of gunk and grime around this area from where those two capacitors were. And it looks like even down into that little via. That's just great. We don't like to see that because that means there could be corrosion in multiple spots. Oh no. So we're just going to give that a quick little clean. And that's looking much better already. Oh, thank you very much, Jay, for the flux fund. Eep! I will get that flux. I will do it. Is solder wick described in the solder wiki? I'm sure if there is a solder wiki, it will describe it. It better. It's an essential tool in my toolkit. All right, so let's take a look around here. We do have an actual tantalum capacitor. Shiver me timbers. That looks to be a legit tantalum. Let me inspect that from this side. Maybe it is. Wouldn't be surprised, but huh. All right, now this cap looks to be okay. But we do have a little solder ball here. Let me get that away. We can see there's a board underneath this. We'll be getting to that soon. Oh, a ThinkPad. Bruce, is money really that tight where you have to sell your soul to try and fix ugly, terrible PCs like a ThinkPad? Is it a Lenovo ThinkPad or an IBM ThinkPad? Because there is a difference, and Mike will yell at you either way. But it's something to be aware of. Oh boy. Okay, so I am going to disassemble this further because I want to see what the carnage is like on the other side of the board before we go much further. So let me go ahead and just fast forward this video tutorial. It's much easier to get to the rest of the board, but I do want to make sure that I'm not taking apart unnecessary screws or anything like that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so in the footsteps of Sony, what I believe they did is they put a little arrow next to the screws that you have to undo. I believe I do have to desolder the battery terminals. We'll get to that in a moment. So, doing a favor. Okay, Lenovo. Wang DC, I am jesting. Merely jesting. I have a ThinkPad. I enjoy it. But see, Bruce of Brangus Creations is a die-hard Macintosh person. He does not do the Windows. So for him to be touching a Windows machine, something is highly irregular. So let's move the microscope away for a moment. Let's turn this light off. And let's move back to the other view here. All right, let's see if I missed any screws. Yep, I did. Now, I do have other YouTube videos on my channel that are not of the live variety. They are, pre-recorded videos that I actually meticulously edit, although sometimes nobody seems to notice, and they think they're live streams because they comment that way, and it's quite silly. But anyway, I do have recorded videos, just like Ken does recorded videos, and a lot of fun doing that. And this iPhone cable I was using was not charging the damn thing. That's just great. My dad gave me some faulty cables and said, I think these don't work. And I said, well, nuts to that. I'm going to try it anyway. Yeah, cables don't work. Well, it says now, but we'll see if it's actually charging in a moment. All right, so let's continue with this. There's a screw over here I have to remove. Just undoing that now. All right. And I think those are all the screws needed. Now I do have to desolder the battery pads here. That's why I took a picture to remember the orientation. In this case, it's just dipping the tip of the iron onto the solder and just releasing those pins. Nothing too serious here. Hey Thomas, how's it going? Oh, well, thank you very much, Bruce. I greatly appreciate it. Bruce does some excellent videos, too. He just did a whole thing about his ultrasonic cleaner, and then he was like, you know what, that's not good enough. I'm going to build an ultrasonic cleaner that's in a laundry sink. I mean, Bruce just went ahead and did it. Nobody told him to. He was like, I'm going to do it. But thank you very much, Bruce. Yeah, we all try and make the content. Now, I do have a Patreon. I just uploaded a very early preview of a video for the Blue SCSI, which is a SCSI hard drive emulator that was just released. And I have to finish that video, but instead I'm doing this because it's long overdue. And my poor Ken, my poor friend Ken has been waiting for me to do this. So I figured I'd help him out. All right, now there is a bit of a trick here, I think, with this. Yes, I think you have to. There's a weird way to do this. There we go. Push that down. I believe that goes up and over. Yeah, there's like a little clip there. Sorry, I was just reading this. I thought they smelled bad on the outside. Okay. Yeah, and then this little button dealy moves there. Yeah, there are these little clips that hold the board, but there's one particular one at the top which is quite annoying, if I recall correctly, because there's this card slot, and if I put the cards back in the slot here, I believe the mechanism pops up in a different way. Or I'm just a lying scumbag. Yeah, there we go. Nope, goes the other way. Interesting. No, we'll figure it out. All right, so what I'm going to do is just slide this board upward then. There's some of these little, oh, that's why we missed a screw. That's why we go very gentle. Very easy to miss a screw here. You do not want to break anything. I was like, this board used to come out a lot easier. No worries, Thomas. Enjoy your lunch. All right, there we go. Now we're getting into the thick of it. Okay, so we have to be very careful here. Because this is where, here, let me watch this part of the video and make sure I'm doing the right size, because there's like a hinge motion you have to do here. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's see what this gentleman does. It's buffering the video. How nice. Oh, that's right, the battery. Yeah, the battery compartment. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, so the way this works is these battery terminals here are actually sort of connected to everything. So I'm going to need a small flathead bit. And my apologies if you can't see this exactly as well as I can, but I need to see it in order to do it. So the camera is kind of secondary, unfortunately. My apologies, but I'll try and explain what I'm doing the best I can. Now I'm going to turn on this light for me to actually see a little bit better. So I'm just sort of pulling the spring towards me, and just helping it over the little plastic loop here. Well, this one went quite easily. The other one, on the other hand, does not seem to be so happy with me trying to do the same. Those will be fun. Let's see if the tweezers are a bit more precise. Yeah. It broke the tip of my tweezers off, but that's okay. Oh, come on. Man battles spring. That spring does not want to come quietly. Just being very careful here. I don't want to put too much pressure on it because there's a little plastic component there. But this spring is not happy. So how about this? I'm going to carefully bend back that plastic and then use the screwdriver to move that spring upwards. There we go. All right, so that is up. All right, let's continue following what this gentleman does. And he flips it open like a sandwich. All right, so let's turn this light off. There's a little clip holding the logic board there. And then we could slide the whole mechanism with this little metal shield kind of this way if we want. Hold on. We have to get that spring out of its little cubby. Pocketed devices are so much fun to work on. Little tiny springs and screws and plastic tabs and so on and so forth. And thank goodness there's an opening in this so you could slide the ribbon cable away from it. You risk slicing the whole thing instead. Alright, so I'm going to flip this over. And we have another capacitor that is an imposter capacitor. So let's take a look at that with a microscope. So I'm going to undo this ribbon cable. So we get a better look at the board. I'm going to move this to the side of my desk. We'll have the focus here. But look at that. We have another electrolytic capacitor hiding and pretending it is actually a tantalum capacitor. Not good. That is not good. So we're going to go ahead and replace that. First, we're going to remove it. I'll come back and replace it. There is an imposter capacitor among us. So again, being very careful with our soldering iron. We're going to kindly suggest that this capacitor go elsewhere. Oh, and look at that. It is actually tacked down on that side too. It's a good tip my friend Bruce told me, was to move things. That's going to stink up a storm, isn't it? Because that's like rubber. Ugh. Is to move things to make it easier for you. Don't be silly just to get it on camera. Yeah, this is bolted down on that side. I misspell things all the time. There we go. There we go. Another capacitor. Now what I'm going to do is make a little note for myself with that pencil that this was a 3.3 microfarad 35 volt on the back. Alright, let's continue, see if we see anything else. There is some corrosion there actually. Look at that. Look at that. And I will explain to you what I see. So we have some exposed copper here. I mean, the rest of this doesn't look that bad, but this certainly, look at that. It was not happy here. And this was just pooling here. Now that connection looks like it's okay, but we'll double check that. So that goes from here all the way to here. So, and we have ways of cleaning this up a little bit, but we're just going to bring out our multimeter and we're going to do a test here to make sure that things are still connecting in the way they're supposed to connect. All right, let's turn on the multimeter. We put it in continuity mode and we're going to point our probe there. And it seems to be making that connection. Let's follow this. Goes down here, here, and right to this connector where the display was. So let's see if it's still making that connection. Yes, it is. Okay. Well, that's good. That lets us know that things are not bad. Oh, look at this little guy. That's funny. Just hanging around there. The very edge of the board. All right, let's take a closer look at this thing. I think that's fine. Let's see if we spot anything else on this side. Oh my goodness, yeah, look at this. Look at that corrosion. Yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun at all. So yeah, we're gonna have to clean that up. Adjust the light here a little bit. There we go. Yeah, we don't want to leave all that crud on the board. That might have not been causing anything yet, but actually it was pretty nasty. Especially in a spot where I don't see a capacitor, so it's a bit concerning. Ugh. Let's look at the other side of this board to refresh our memory and see if there was anything on the other side that may have caused this. And yes, we do have that big chunking capacitor that we thought was okay. Actually, we didn't see it was okay. I knew this was problematic because of the appearance of these cold solder joints on this side. So it just goes to show you that this capacitor went to the back side of this board and started causing problems in this area here. Not cool. Not cool. So whenever somebody tells me, yeah, I have something, it didn't leak yet, sometimes you can't even see it, dude. Sometimes you can't even see if something has leaked yet. So, I mean, I fully understand. Not everybody has a microscope. Not everybody has experience with these things, but that's why a lot of the times I'm like, yeah, send it to me. I'll make my observations when it gets here. The edge connector looked like rust. Well, let's flip this over. I don't think that's rusted. The way light bounces off of things on this microscope is very interesting. What I believe here, what's going on is there's a, yeah, this is what's happening here. There's a ribbon cable that's attached to the board. So everything is brown. And then there's pins on top of it. Now I see some flux residue here. Thankfully, it's just flux. Nothing that would cause any short-circuiting. That's interesting to see. This poor little device has had a hard life. It's not necessarily going to cause any harm, so I'm going to leave it there, I assume. But everything appears at first glance to be okay. Let's move back over here and take a look at this area of where things were leaking. Now these holes right here, those are called vias. Very easy for capacitors to go through and damage connections between the layers of the board. And sometimes that's very difficult to fix if that has happened. Hopefully we're in good shape here. But I see what might be a break in the trace going from that little dot to this little component. And we're going to check that out in a moment with my multimeter just to play it safe. Alright, so let's see if this still has connectivity here. Huh? And it does. Alright, so maybe there's just, yeah. It's just the solder mask on top that was not happy. Yeah, there's still some of this gunk here. Ugh. Yeah, something tells me that some of this stuff was being bridged out of sequence, which probably wasn't doing it any favors. So we can clean this up a little bit. I have a scalpel here. Just get a lot of this gunk away. We'll do a better job of cleaning this up as we go along. But yeah, not fun. That's not what you want to have on your board, especially if it's one of a kind, you know, like a prototype or a pre-production unit, etc. And this dark color that you might be able to see just slightly around here, that's corrosion going after the trace here. And you do want to scrape those away because it could cause more permanent damage. And it can spread. Alright. So I do have some tools here that my good friend Bruce suggested. And they're these little soldering needles. And I'm not going to really use them as he would want me to use them. But I'm just using them just to give a little poke. Just see. Yeah. He uses a sewing needle to file that he files down. I don't have a sewing needle handy, so I'm not going to do that right now. We might have to come back to that spot another time. But generally speaking, that doesn't look terrible. It still looks like there's a lot of copper there. So I'm just looking around the board to see if I can see anything else that looks problematic. This generally looks like it's okay, but I will replace it anyway. Because even if it doesn't look like it's okay, those capacitors are like, what, 20, 30 years old? So they may not be in spec anymore. May not be given the power to the right things that they're supposed to. Oh, look at this. More corrosion. More corrosion. Look at that. And again, where is that on the other side of the board? Beep. Sorry, that's the multimeter. Turn that off. That's right on the other side of the board where there's more capacitors. Excellent. So much fun. So much fun. Yeah, we're going to have to remove this capacitor too. No capacitors left behind. So I do have a solder sucker that would make this job much easier. But I'm a glutton for punishment. And just going to do this the old-fashioned way. This shouldn't be too hard. Because this capacitor, you could just stand up like that. Well, you switch to a view where you can actually see what the heck I'm doing. Sorry for the squeak. So this capacitor is just sort of standing up here. And I'm just going to hold it with my fingers. Since it's a through-hole capacitor, just going to heat up the pins on the other side. And just gracefully wobble this out. And I did that faster than I would have been waiting for the other soldering iron to warm up. And I'm going to take some of this, whoops, my screen changed. I am going to take some of the stuff that's stuck in that hole there, and I'm going to remove it with this. Oh, what's the word? I'm not remembering my words today. Wick, that's the word, Stephen. You silly, silly person, you. Yeah, so you see there's still some solder in there. We're just going to suck it up with this wick. And we have to transition to the right view, so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right. Okay, so on this side of the board, not really seeing anything too terrible other than what we witnessed before. I wonder if this is an actual tantalum or not. It looks suspicious, folks. It looks suspicious. It looks like it's sandwiched, like there's two pieces to this. I am very suspicious. I don't know if I have a replacement for this one, but you know what? I could always just put it back on. So I'm going to just take a chance that this is a fake one, and we'll see. Place your bets. Let's see. This is a real tantalum capacitor or a fake one. Oh, actually, yep. If we look at the sides, that is a real tantalum. So we're going to put you back. Sorry. Can't be too careful these days, huh? I'm going to put you back where you were with the plus symbol going towards the plus symbol. So we have the right polarity of this capacitor as I move it all around with my fat fingers. Let me just bring the solder close to me so I can just get a little dab of it on the iron. And apologize to this poor capacitor. Sorry, friend. Your other comrades made it seem like, you know, you might have been hiding something. So we can never be too careful at these times. But thank you for understanding. Just want to make sure that's as flat down as possible because there's not a lot of tolerance inside of this device. Get some of that gunk out of there. There might have been some gunk in there anyway. Could have just been some old flux or something. That's okay. All right. Again, anybody who's new here, hello. Thank you very much for joining. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, doing all that thingamajigs or the whatever. But you don't gotta. If you wanna, yeah, sure. If not, yeah, it's okay. I understand. All right, so that display connector looks fine. I'm not seeing any problems with that. This capacitor looks just like the other real capacitor, so I'm going to leave it alone. And so we only have one more capacitor here that needs to be replaced, and that's this one. This is a 22 microfarad 10 volt capacitor. I may not actually have one or two of these in stock, but what I can do is go ahead and place an order, and I could go ahead and make sure that I have them. Because I have a lot for the Newton, but some of them differ slightly. So we'll see. So I'm just going to remove this one carefully. There's a lot of solder on this, so it's just, you know, I don't want to pull the pads or anything like that. Being very careful. Thank you. And do we have a marking of positive and negative? Oh, this is a, oh no, never mind. I was about to say, oh, it's one of the ones that's, blah, blah, blah. No, so the negative is up here, towards the C114 label, and the positive is down here. We might be able to see that once we clean up the pads a bit, but sometimes it's hard to tell. Just look at it suck up all that solder. That does look like it made a bit of a mess. That's not just flux, folks. That is yucky capacitor goo. So we're going to clean that off the board. Yucky corrosive goo. Get off of this board. There we go. See, never be too careful. So remove that. Yoink. I'm going to make a note of that. Alrighty, so we're almost at the 1 hour and a half mark here. Oh boy, this has been enlightening, huh? Alright, so it looks like we may have gotten all the problem areas. Well, this is where there's a switch. I'm going to clean that up a little bit. I don't think that's corrosion. Looks like just a lot of crud and flux. Yeah, that's fine. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run upstairs and get some more cotton swabs or Q-tips. I'll be back in a jiffy. I'm going to put on the Be Right Back music. Sometimes it plays a little loud. My apologies if it does. So just if you're wearing headphones, have your hand by the volume adjustment dial or button or whatever deal. And I'll be right back in about 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, I have returned, and we were looking at something very up close and personal. Hello, Retro Techie. Thank you very much for joining. Just want to try and clean this switch up a little bit more. Where was it? What side was it on? This guy right here. I'm going to reflow that. That joint does not look the best here. I'm going to take the solder off and reflow that better. Alrighty. And then we're just going to put a little dab of solder on there. There we go. Sorry, that was slightly off camera. Right is right. Hopefully everyone is still tuning in, enjoying this. If not, you can tune in later if you missed some of it. No worries. That's a beautiful thing about YouTube replays. All right. My neck and back are just about being a bit annoying right now. So I'm going to see how much I can muster through this before I give myself some painful back spasms. Because I have not streamed at a microscope in quite some time. And my body's just yelling at me and screaming. Okay, so this all looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully fish out the proper capacitors for this Newton. Because we need to replace them. So we have this big old boy. And that is a 470 microfarad, 16 volt capacitor. Then we have this other one, which was a 100 microfarad, 25 volt. And then we have two that were hiding as tantalums, but they were not. And those are 10 microfarad, 16 volt. So let's see how many of these I have in stock. Again, if not, I'll have to order them. We'll continue this another time. But let me switch the camera here. Get a bit of a different view. Hi! Oh God, he's back. And we can see if I can find those capacitors. Alright. And we're going to have to do some digging, because there's a lot of parts here. These are for Macintosh LC power supplies, or at least one variant. That's for 2GS. I do my best to try and label some of these, because you never know. That's for Mac 2SI. These are 10 microfarad, 16 volts. We will need two of those. Keep that out. More of those, but tinier. I'll leave both of those out, just in case. Those are for PowerBooks. That's for something else. That's also for something else. IBM floppy drive. This is for, I don't know what this is. Oh, Mac 2SI. Sometimes I can't read my own handwriting. That's a problem. Here, we'll point this down. You can see that I'm looking at the things. Let's see. Also for Mac 2SI. Bunch of Reefa caps. Bunch of other caps. Oh, that's for an Apple III from my good friend Joe of Joe's Computer Museum. He sent me an Apple III recap kit that I bought, and I have to go ahead and do that. That's an empty bag. So many capacitors. So many. So many. And there might even be more. More, I say. These are more reefer caps. Oh, we have hard drive jumpers. That's where they went. Looking for those stupid things. All right, these are 50 volts, 1 microfarad. All right, so it's not in there. Now, those are caps for those. Pretty sure I had another bag that said Newton capacitors on it. I was pretty sure that's what was in that bag, but I could be wrong. And we may have to come back at another time to complete that, but I was pretty sure I put those there. Let's check in the other usual spaces. Hey, how's it going? How does it feel to willingly take on the Crazy Ken curse? I've done it before, and I'm still standing. We'll see if I regret this. Oh, the night is still young. Alright, so we have a bunch more caps here. Just trying to see if I have these oddball figures for these caps that I bought for the Newton message pad. 25, 100. Yep, here we go. Here's one of them. I think this is going to be the right stash here. 250. I'm sorry, 220, 25, 220, 10. That's close enough. That should be okay. More IBM floppy parts. Let's see. These are... Oh, that's for something else. It's for a different project. Let's see. 330 microfarads, 6 volts. Nope, none of those. None of those. 1610s. 1610s. You often end up with a lot of similar ones, but different sizes, because not everything is going to fit the same thing. We do have a 47016, but that's not the right form factor. Those are USB ports. Let's see what this guy is. This is a... Doesn't even say what it is. 100 microfarad, 25 volt. Yes. We also have another one of those. Excellent. Alright. Those are for power supply for the LC. This is 25 microfarad, 220. No. Do not need those. What the heck did I get these for? Something. I know this is riveting content. My apologies. And these are 100 microfarad, 25. Again, I have some of those. Excellent. Okay. So, we can replace some of the capacitors. So let's start doing that. And then we'll go from there. Is it fixed yet? No. Don't forget to like that smash button. Exactly. Exactly, Bruce. Thank you. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all those things that you have to do, because that's what we do. Do. Alright, so this is the problematic area that was a bit bleh looking. This is where those two imposter capacitors that were supposed to be tantalums, but they actually were not. They were electrolytics. They took a bit of a spill here. So we're just cleaning this up a little bit. It's not too bad. Okay, that's not bad. Alright, so, how this worked was they were these little positive, negative guys. So we're going to have to make sure that we replace those. And so I'm probably going to, with a proper size, so I'm going to use these tiny capacitors. Teeny tiny little baby capacitors. Wait till you see how tiny these little guys are. Very useful for projects like this where you don't have a lot of room. Look at those. So teeny tiny. So teeny tiny. And that's actually quite perfect. So we're going to make sure this stripe points towards positive, unlike electrolytics, where the stripe goes towards negative. This here, the stripe has to go towards positive. Let me try and clean that pad out a little bit, because that looks a bit bleh. If there's old crap here, I'm going to do our best to clean that away. We don't want it sitting here and pestering this system for a future generation to enjoy. No, thank you. Eep! Alright, so let's put these capacitors down. We'll see how many we can make progress with. I swore I had the rest of these, but they could just be in a little bin somewhere. But we'll do what we can tonight, and we could always continue again at a later point. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and tack these down. So I just put some flux on the board, which is going to help the solder adhere to what we want to adhere, and it also helps keep these little items in place. And a capacitor, well, that's just an old cap. An old cap went on my wrist and fell on the floor, but it was an old one, so it's dead to me anyway. To hell with you, old capacitor. Alrighty. Now for the other side. Oh, smell fish. Yeah, that's lovely. Alright, let's do the other side. Well, the other cap, rather. We're going to fix it up in a sec, but I just want to tack it down. It must be fixed tonight. We'll do what we can, Bruce. I'm very curious about these. I think this is just ground or something, because this was just like tacking the shell of that tantalum holder down, which, yeah, it just had this like glue on it. So I don't think that really matters as much. But we have our replacement caps in there. Give it a little nudge. Those aren't going anywhere. Excellent. All right, so now we have this massive one on the side here. I have to bring up that that little. I think I actually made a guide. Hold on, let me try and find it here. Okay. Why no me find? There we go. Yeah, just looking for the thingamajig that I was looking at before. Give me a moment. I know Bruce doesn't have the recapping guides for Newtons, unfortunately. I swore I did I did a video about it. I should check my notes, but I don't think I actually made a proper guide, which is fantastic. I mean, I could just thumb through the video I was looking at before. That's fine. But that requires reading. All right, so there's 3.3 35 volt caps, which I probably do not have present. And the 47010 I do not have, but this I know there's a bag around here with more caps. And I just, it's gonna drive me crazy. You know, give me like 5 minutes. I'm gonna put you on the be right back thing if that's okay. Give me 5 minutes. I'm just gonna put the be right back thing on. I'm gonna see if I can find them. They have to be around here somewhere. If not, we gave it a try at least. But be right back. One moment. Let's see if I can find these capacitors, and then we'll get on with replacing the ones that I can. So I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I have not found this stupid thing. I don't know where it is. I'm gonna have to look for it. But I found my notes. So let's see if I was smart enough to leave something in here about the Newton. Probably not. We have some lovely recapping guides from my good friend Bruce at Brankus Creations. A lot of hard work went into creating these guides, and they are a resource and an asset to the community. So you go to recapamac.com. And Bruce, you can put your link, you can put your link in there if you'd like. Nothing in there. That's disturbing. But I guess I have to make one of these guides now. I thought I had one, but that's okay. I could also use this live stream footage to determine exactly which cap went where. But we do have those two replaced, which is good. Now the next one is a 22 microfarad 10 volt. I believe I have a similar one here, so I could at least do that one. So let's go ahead and take a look. These are 100 microfarad 25. We do have one of those too. So let me go and just sneak back to this video here, where this gentleman was taking his apart. I believe some of those caps are listed. Hello, Electrical Outlet. How are you doing? Hope you are doing well. Yeah, so I'm actually taking a look to see which ones I put where last time. La 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 la. But that's what happens when you don't stream for a while. Then you just do silly things. And make a butt out of yourself. A big fat butt. He said butt. Alright, so I'm just skimming through. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, so this guy here. This one on the side here. Because I had to skim through a video to find this. Because I don't think anybody made a guide, including me. I am shocked. Well, not that shocked, but, you know. I really just should have made a guide for this. Would have saved myself a lot of pain. Alright, so this one is on this side of the board. Yes. Now, where's the negative goes? I'm just cross-referencing this here. Want to double check. No, it's actually on another one. Yeah. How about that? Well, honestly, we maybe added a little bit of an impasse here if I can't recollect the best of the things right now. But, yeah, we're going to power through it. Alright? It might be a bit boring, so I apologize. But we're going to try and figure this out. Gonna try and figure it out, because there are some recapping guides that show you like the 3 caps, but they don't show you the ones on the back, which is the ones that we need to replace. So through the power of watching my own stream, what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and just take a look-see of what we saw, because, you know, it happens. Alright, so that's one of those guys. Now, we want to do it when we're taking apart. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this was the... that's why I saved the capacitors until I'm done with the project, so I can refer back to them. So I'm going to just draw a little crude thingamajig in the corner here with my pencil. So this is, which one is this? This is IC6. That's near that. Okay, so this is 114. That's 20 microfarad 10 volt. Let's see if I have one of those. I don't think I do, but we could at least note that of what we need for the future. This is a 25100. Yeah, that's a little bit different. Yeah, I would be happy to create a guide. I just have to go ahead and actually do it. I think I have the makings of one on my machine upstairs. I just never completed it. But I have the logic board open here, so I might as well go ahead and do that. In fact, this is going to be very exciting. I'm going to take a picture with my cellular telephone. Let's see if this charged at all. Oh, kind of. All right, so let's take a front view and a back view. I'm going to be very crude with this, but it's better than no pictures. And I'm going to send those to myself. I know I'm not using the Rode microphone, Bruce. Why? What you bothering me about? I saw your message. Don't think that you could put one past me. I mean, how dare you? You could barely hear me. Well, Jay, I think you need your ears checked, bud. Everyone else, it's not having a problem. Now, if they are, I'm probably full of crap, and I need to adjust my settings, because sometimes the settings just reset themselves for no reason. And if that's the case, I will happily adjust the volume to make a bit of a difference, so people aren't like, hey, I can't hear you. Hopefully that helps. All right. Let's open up Photoshop here. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I do. Exciting. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. All right, so let's make a folder, Newton Guide. And we're going to use the photos that we just took. If my system wants to cooperate here, there we go. To just try and make ourselves a little guide here. I thought I had one, which is why I didn't bother in the first place, but that's okay. We can at least start, okay? We could at least start. Alrighty. So, whoops. Wrong thing. I have too many screens here, so my apologies. Alrighty, so let's see. How do I do this thing again? Screen capture, right? There we go. That's me. And we want to capture line. Hold please. Oh, I haven't streamed in a while. And it shows. My goodness. My goodness. And we're going to do this one here. And there we go. Oops. We didn't have the sound. Oopsie doodle. Let's fix that. All right. Hopefully you can hear me now. I've been having some rotten luck with the PowerBook 150. It works just fine, but I can't get the hinges to work. Installed a fixed part. Oof. Yeah, the plastics on those are not exactly the best. I mean, the PowerBooks, people thought most of them have escaped damage, but it's not fun. Not fun. Oh, that's good. So my window is on this side, but the Photoshop tools and palettes are all on another screen. Oh, that's good. So we just drag them over here. Just drag them on over. We only need a few. All right, great. So we're not going to get too fancy here, but I'm going to just make a new layer. And we're just going to outline where some of these caps are. And I'm just making a rudimentary guide for myself because others will probably want to use this in the future, including me. Of course, all the windows are coming up on the other screen. And I forgot how to do the thing. Oopsie. Yeah, a little much. There we go. All right, so we have one capacitor there. Then there's another one over here. And let's see, any others on this back side of the board? Let me just take a look. So remove that one. Okay, then there's one up here. So these we don't necessarily need to replace. So I'm actually going to change the color. Oh, where's the... Yeah, here it is. Again, on my other display. That's okay. We'll put these in a nice calming purple. How about that? Good old Photoshop. Alright, so this little capacitor here that we removed, that was not the 1016. That was the... hold on, I have it written down. The 3.3 microfarad 35 volt. So I'm just going to crudely make a little box here. And we'll fix this later. But watch old man do Photoshop. Go! And so that's 3.3 microfarad 35 volt, and of course Chicago is probably not the best font, although I love it. I'll just use a good old Arial. Sorry, I'm working with like 2 screens here. It's not exactly the easiest thing to do while I'm streaming. Oh boy. Yeah, this is not going to win any beauty contest, but that's not the point right now. These are 33 microfarad 16 volts. We're going to leave those alone for now. This is the one we have to worry about replacing. So that's for the back of the board. Now the front of the board, we have a capacitor up here. So what I'm going to do is just, which layer is the first one? Just going to copy that layer over here. I'm going to put that over there. And there's this capacitor over here we have to replace, along with this guy over there, was it? Let me flip it around. Let me see for myself. Yes. Right there were the 2 leads. That's the one that went through. And let's see, anything else here that we missed? No. And then the 2 16 ones are over here. These are the ones that were replaced already. But we still want to note them. All right. So again, just gonna make a little box here. And again, this is not gonna be the beautiful thingamajig that sometimes I do. But these are 16 volt, no, 10 microfarad, 16 volt. And now the question is, which ones are these 2? So that's what I have to figure out. Now this one was the fat one that was bent on that side, and this one just sort of was on that side there. So that goes there. So this one right here, we know what it is. So let's go ahead and mark that. Whoopsie. Well, we don't need the whole thing. I'll just create a new box. There. See, I've changed some of the keyboard shortcuts on my other thing. I'm not used to them on here, but whatever. All right, so this one here, this is a 100 microfarad 25 volt. And the big one up there that was hanging off to the side, that is a 470 microfarad 16 volt. Now I do have one of those, but it's in the wrong type of shape, and I'd rather order the proper one if I can. So I might just have to go ahead. And oh my goodness, Steven, you're trying to save time and you're just mucking it up. So just don't do that. Just make a new box. All right. So again, this is 470 microfarad, 16 volt, I believe. Yes, that is correct. All right, cool. So I believe that covers the capacitors here. Yeah, this is the other one. This was, hold on, here it is. This was a little tiny guy. 22 microfarad, 10 volt. So let's note that. It's because I have to be on a layer that's not a text layer. Ba-ba-da-ba-da, ba-ba-da-ba-da, boop. And because I can't remember things, I have to look at it again. 22 microfarad, 10 volts. Correct? Come on. Yeah, man. There we go. All right, cool. All right, so now we know exactly what we have here. So we have 1, 2, 3 capacitors on this side to replace, and 1 on this side. So it does look like I may have to make an order for some of these. I swear that I have them. And they might just be floating around in a bag somewhere. And I'll take a look after the stream to see if I can locate them. If not, these parts are not too expensive. I could just go ahead and order that, and we'll be good to go. So let me switch back over to here. I'm just going to save these files before I forget. So this is Newton, where's my dialog box? Newton 100, front. And we'll do the same for this one. Oh, yes, click OK. And do file, save as. And this one's going to be Newton 100 back. I call it the 100. It's the original message pad, but it's the same exact thing. The caps are the same and everything is the same. Just catching up on some of the chat here. Sorry, I was just off doing my own thing for a little bit. Oh, I miss Comp USA. I miss Comp USA. That was a good store. Never had the money to really buy anything in the store before they all closed, but that's, I guess, a me problem. Well, you might have to reload that floppy drive, but it probably still works. All right, cool. So we have those, hey, Reed, how's it going? So we have those recapping guides made, and I was able to determine which caps went where, which is excellent. The problem is I do not have all the replacement capacitors, unfortunately. Oh, it looks like we have, well, that's a 20, did I say 25? Yeah, I said 25. Where did that one come from? Hold on. I want to make sure I'm not mixing up anything, because I wrote down 100 microfarad, 25 volt. Let's see if I made a boo-boo here. That one's there. That was there. That one's there. That one's there. I'll have to go back and check in my video just to make sure I didn't make any mistakes there of noting down which capacitor. And I'll note that before I order the new ones. I swear I had some of them in stock, but, you know, sillier things have happened. So, yeah, that's just that. So for this guy, I need to order a few caps. We will be doing that. Don't necessarily know what else I could do on the stream right now. We've been going for over 2 hours here. But I know a bunch of people are now flying in here. We have Jeremy. We have Reed. My goodness. What to do. I don't want to waste any more time looking for those capacitors, because I could easily spend a whole night doing that. And nobody's going to watch that. I'm just looking around casually, you know, just to see if, you know, they're in a great spot that I put them in. They're not. They're probably behind the desk somewhere, and I'm not getting up to look at that. I didn't get much sleep last night. My neck and back hurt like crazy. We are not doing any 840 AVs. I do not have the energy for that. How dare you suggest that? There was something fun I could do. I did get a box of random tech crap. I'm going to unbox that stuff and show you guys here. So let me go upstairs and grab that box. We'll go through that. We'll have some fun. I'm going to put a little bin, get a little bin to put this Newton in so all the pieces are in the same spot. And we'll continue with the stream in just like 2 minutes. So let me just run upstairs and grab that. Let me put the Be Right Back screen on and we'll resume. I'm back with the box. And where did I put... I put the empty bin over there. Hold on. I had to get the silly empty bin. Oh, boy. We are clearly not firing on all cylinders today. And by we, I mean me. So before I go any further, I'm going to... There it is. These screws are thankfully all the same. Just going to put them in this little bin with the other Newton parts. So everything's in the right spot. And we'll be able to continue this when I get those caps. Fold this up, put it in there, and put that in that bin. So everything is in the same spot. And where is, here we go. There we go. So put that to the side. So all that's in the same spot, cannot lose it. Hello, Dave. My goodness, everyone's coming in now. I guess one of the other streams ended. So apologies, I do always intend not to stream over people, but sometimes I don't think far enough ahead to put my, hey, I'm streaming thing out there, and then, you know. So apologies if I was streaming over anybody. Not the intention. I always try and be conscious of that, but it happens. All right, so let me put my tools away. I know. Shocking, isn't it? I always forget to. But I do have to review this. I do want to do a video about this toolkit. I only used a few of those things, but I'm pretty happy with it so far. And we'll put this toolkit away as well. I'm learning. Trying to learn. Joe! I'm still alive. Oh, your stream just ended. Again, sorry, Joe. Did not mean to stream over you. But looks like you were building blue scuzzies and having fun. And Joe of Joe's Computer Museum just put out a video about the Blue SCSI version 2. I highly suggest you check it out. The Blue SCSI version 2 is an excellent update to an already excellent product, which is the Blue SCSI. And highly suggest you check out his video and order a Blue SCSI if you have a vintage Mac that needs a SCSI hard drive replacement. Exactly, Joe. Exactly. And that's how my mind works, Joe. And I'm glad your mind goes the same way. Because I'm like, I don't want to stream. And I'm like, all right, I'll stream. And then, you know, it just happens. Okay, just catching up on the chat. Alright, cool. So, let's look at this crap that I got. That's in a box. This is how we're going to spend this part of the stream. You might have seen this on MacYak or wherever I showed this, but look at this mouse. So I got these things off eBay. Look at this mouse. This is called an iSuite by MacAlley. And it's basically a one-button USB mouse, but they give you these little clicky buttons. How cool is that? In the box. Now, I did not pay $30 for it. I did not pay the prices marked for any of these items. But I like it's like 700 CPI. And the back of it's boasting all of its features and and it says, includes 5 changeable colored jackets, USB plug-and-play, high resolution, soft, responsive click button, excellent feel and shape. Well, there you go. I thought it was neat. And I also just bought some random stuff, like these USB A to B cables. They were $1, and they were colorful. So I figured, why not? They colorful. So, yay! Colorful. And here's a clear one, because I'm doing more videos about iMacs, and I like having like the old-fashioned looking cables, you know, like the clear and the colorful ones. Here's a red one. It's a little faded though. But again, they were $1. It's hard for me to say no to things that are $1. Like this, serial cable extension cable. So this is how long is this? 10 feet. So this is a Macintosh serial cable extension. So like for my image writer, I could have it 10 feet further away. How cool is that? 10 feet. Heck yeah. What else do we got here? We have a gender bender here. This is a DB15 female to female. So I could extend a DB15 cable. But I have to actually have one of these for the Macintosh SE30 mod I'm doing, which has a video card. So there we go. How much is that in meters? Use a calculator. I'm not smart. We also have another gender bender here, a little changer. And this goes from male to male. And so that is a serial connection. I have the opposite, so it's good to have that. These were interesting. Again, for like $1. They had a very poor photo in it, but now I'm sort of identifying what they are. These are BNC crimp connectors, but I think they're the terminating style. And then some of them looks like there's some loose bits in there too. So I'm not exactly sure, but again, $1. I'm like, I'm already buying stuff and paying shipping, so there we go. This was marketed as an Apple II question mark cable, but it's more of a MIDI cable. Again, $1. I think I need that type of a connector to make a video plug. So I'm not going to say no to that. This was like $3 or $4 or something like that. This is just a computer phone talk connector. Oh, look at the back. It has a picture of the Macintosh XL. Oh, that's so cool. So they made two styles of this. Essentially, these are networking cables to make a very small and very slow network with either a DB9 or an 8-pin mini DIN connector for your Macintoshes. And you can see a little diagram of how that network might work. You might have a bunch of these, and you go ahead and make yourself a bunch of connectors there. Someone is just spamming iMac G3 in the chat. Sure. And then we have this, a Mac Sync 2 series adapter. From looking this up, this is from Griffin Technology, very old one from Griffin Technology. And this apparently is for the Macintosh 2 SI, which does a very weird sync on green. And there are dip switches on here, I believe, that should make this happy with other systems. So this is DB15 to VGA. And there's a little booklet in here, so I could scan that book and post that on Tinker Different. There's a whole thread on tinkerdifferent.com of these little adapters for the monitors and what the dip switches do, and so on and so forth. So we'll be doing that. No RetroFox, but they might have another one. I will send you the link if they do. And then the rest of the box is mouse pads. Again, it was hard to go wrong for mouse pads for $1. I think I got a pretty good selection. This one I thought was funny. Now, the reason behind some of these are just for props. When I'm doing a video, especially the Mac Clone series, which I'm very close to start filming the second part of, I need to show things with dates, either calendars or materials that have dates on them. I sometimes can get creative with shots. And so sometimes I see a mouse pad with a date on it. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. So this is 1994. It's a calendar mouse pad for micro enterprises. But what I thought was funny about this is in the center, it's like design your own mouse mat, which is a mouse pad on a mouse pad. So how meta can you get? How meta can you get? I thought that was funny. So for $1, I could do worse. This was interesting. This is APC. These are a company that did surge protectors and battery backups and stuff like that. Again, I just thought it was neat. Very 90s aesthetic. This is a smooth one. The other one's very fabric. But what's not to like? Of course, you gotta have a geeky Star Wars one. This is a Darth Maul one. Look at the ones they have on the back, though. Let's look at these. We have a Jedi one, a Queen Amidala one, an Episode 1, a Space Battle one. I have this one, this Anakin Skywalker one. I actually have that one. I don't have the Jar Jar one, thank God. But look at these wrist rests they have. Oh, those are neat. I have a Toy Story wrist rest from when that film came out. You know, for your palms on the keyboard. Thought that was funny. Yes, APC is still around. And they had this mouse pad. I couldn't tell between which one I wanted, but at like $3, I was like, I'll get both. So again, more geeky mouse pads. This was cool. Mac Galaxy. Madison's Macintosh store. Located in Wisconsin. Look at that. Look at that computer. Smiling there. I don't know, I thought this was neat. It's a big mouse pad too. This is more substantial than the others. So, thought that was neat. And if you're going Star Wars, you got to go Star Trek as well. So, a Next Generation mouse pad. We've got an OG Spock mouse pad as well. So those are neat. Oh, let me hold those up. You might not got a good shot of Geordi and Spock there. So these are neat. I know Mike would like those. And this one is what made me find the mouse pads to begin with. This is a Lacey one, 1998. So there's a calendar again, but again, it's for props and stuff. They have another Spock one there, RetroFox. It's a very dangerous eBay store link I'm going to send you. I'm not responsible for anything that you buy. They do combine shipping. Oh, this one was weird. It was in a Hewlett-Packard one. I don't know. I don't have a lot of PC mouse pads. A lot of Apple ones, so I thought that was interesting. Tried and trusted. This is like an eagle gripping a stupid laptop that probably weighs more than the damn bird and pulling it away. Yeah. Oh yeah, I like the Geordi mouse pad. That's why I got it. And then this one's the last one in the box. If I could get it out. It's like perfect fit for this box. And now it's on the floor. So I have a Toy Story wrist rest. And now I have the matching mouse pad that goes with it. So if I'm doing something on mid-90s computing with kids applications or whatever, perfect combination of the wrist rest and the mouse pad. Really fit that aesthetic. Is it an African or a European bird? I don't know, but I'm surprised. I'm very disappointed it didn't have coconuts in its talons. So just leave it at that. These mouse pads have a bit of a smell to them. And a good way, like new mouse pad smell. Alright, so let me just put all these doodads back in the box. Because I will promptly lose them. And go, hey, I just bought that thing. Where the hell did it go? This is why we can't have nice things. So that was my bi-weekly splurge of stupid things I don't need on eBay. Hi, honey. Hope you're not watching. I love you. Yeah, so that was fun. Let me go ahead and get to that eBay store so I could send a link via text message before I forget. Because I do forget. Very often. Very often. But yeah, I mean, sometimes what happens on eBay is, you find something and then you go, oh, that's an interesting item. I wonder if that seller has anything else that's interesting. And then you go down the rabbit hole I just went down. And it's like, well, there's like $60, $70. Boy. So I'm going to go ahead and send that thingamajig in the chat here to my good old friend RetroFox. Not that chat, but a different chat. Because, yeah, if I could find it. Oh, it's on the Discord. I could just use the Discord, because the Discord is right there. So you could use the search function on that thingamajig to find things. No, this is bad, because I'm looking at stuff now, and I'm just going to want to buy more stuff. Ooh. This is so stupid, Steven. Why are you looking at this stuff again? Why? Why? I'm laughing because it's like I'm very tempted to just close the window, but it's also like I'm scrolling and seeing interesting things that weren't there when I was looking at it. Like a 10100 megabit dual speed Ethernet hub, $3. A Mac 2SI case, $10. These are good deals, my friend. A new in-box USB flash drive, 128 megabytes, $10 whole. That's a real vintage one. No, I don't need a Naboo, Dave. No. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. A power computing mouse. Oh, that is... Why didn't I see that before? All right. Anywho, enough of that. Yes, this is probably all share. Anyway, yeah, so you see something interesting and you go ahead and you find something, and then you could go ahead and see what else the guy has, and it's always dangerous. Red Rooster, I am just letting you know I am putting you in a timeout because you just keep spamming stuff that make no sense. I don't know if the cat got your keyboard or what, but don't spam, please. All right, so what the heck are we doing here? Absolutely nothing. We've been here for 2 hours and 28 minutes, and everyone has been hanging around and doing something, and that was me. I was trying to repair this Newton. Apparently, I don't have the capacitors here. I thought I did because I did a big dumb. So, yeah, not sure what to do. Might just call it here. We have about 37 people watching. I do appreciate everyone sticking around. Do appreciate all the super chats I got. But yeah, kind of tired. Didn't get much sleep last night. My neck is kind of hurting. But it's kind of like to just relax and not do anything. So I might just go ahead and do that. But if anybody has any questions about any Macintosh related thingamajigs, I'm happy to provide some potential answers to you. I hope to do another stream within a day or so. So you won't have to wait too long. I know I was not doing a stream for weeks. So that was a while. But Quadra 840 AV power supply for $15 whole. You just keep pulling me back in, Retro Fox. This guy's going to make a boatload off for me. See, that's one of the first things I do is search for the word Quadra, and I didn't find anything, but yeah, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. So that's just more money going to this lovely individual. Who I'm sure was very happy with the crap that I bought. Oh, for parts. Yeah. Oh, this is probably returned. Oh. Oh, yeah, it doesn't even have the sorry, I'm talking about something you can't see. It doesn't even look like it has the connector cable. No, it doesn't. So that's kind of useless. It doesn't have the cable going from the power supply to the Quadra itself. So, anywho. But yeah, that's been fun. Jeremy says, I have a Radeon 9200 from a PC, and it has no BIOS chip. Is there a way to work it on a Mac? I mean, your best bet would be to Google that. I'm not aware of a Radeon 9200 from a PC that I've seen that, you could just make it work on a Mac. I mean, a lot of those have chips built in. You might have a BIOS chip. You might just not be able to see it, or it's integrated into something else. The 9200 was a card that was, I believe, on the Mac Mini, and I think one of the eMacs or the iBooks. So the drivers exist there, but whether or not you could flash a PC card to make it work on a Mac is a different story. So your best bet is to Google Mac rumors and something like that and do a search, because a lot of those things have been done before, or questions have been asked about specific cards. So rare, a term used to exponentially raise the price of an item for sale that's really not rare. Yes, Roger, exactly, Roger. That's 90% of the eBay listings. My goodness. Oh, anywho, yeah, we're dwindling here. My brain is just going and just fizzing out, but yeah, that happens. Electrical outlet. No! Once had a 6100 pizza box. Not a bad box. Unfortunately, the Purion battery decided to ooze. Ooh. That's a bad one to ooze, too, because it's right next to the power supply and those memory chips. Oh, boy. A 2SI for $850? That's about $800 too much. I bought a working 2SI at VCF East for $40. It was a good deal. $850. What was that, Canadian? It's still too much. My goodness. That's rough. Oh, boy. Well, we'll do another Steve Looks at eBay stream another time. That'll be a lot of fun. But, yearly check for a G5 dual processor, dual core for radiator leaks. Yeah, I have one of those here. I gotta dig it out. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah. A lot of these Macs have very poor battery replacement, especially the Macintosh SE30. Ugh. They stack neatly. I have two over there. I have 2 over there, and I have 2 over there. They do stack very neatly, and I have a problem. Well, you know, we're just going to keep self-deprecating myself until the end of the stream. But anywho, I hope you enjoyed this repair attempt. There will be a part 2. I have to make sure I could find and or order those parts. Again, sorry, Ken, for the delay on this, but we'll get to that and try and get that all fixed up and back to you, and hopefully in a working state. Yeah, I mean, I have to get back into my streaming groove. I haven't streamed for a while, and it shows. Hopefully I get a good night's sleep, and hopefully all of you have a good rest of your day, wherever you are. And I hope to see you again soon. Don't forget to like things and subscribe to things. You can do whatever you'd like. I am having a video about the Blue SCSI version 2 coming out real soon. My friend Joe of Joe's Computer Museum already did a great video on that, but I'm going to be releasing my take of it fairly soon. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you enjoyed part of this stream. And for those of you stuck around, you are the true believers. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next stream. Bye.